find a stable, meditative posture, thinking mainly about sitting slightly off of any back of our chair, holding up our torso, keeping a really straight, stable, upright, but comfortable position. I would just start by recognizing the ways in which we and all beings experience difficulties, the obstacles, disappointments. Try to see how all sentient beings are exactly the same in wanting to meet only with happiness and to be free of even the slightest of negativities. There's no difference between ourselves and any other sentient being in that regard. So try to touch that shared experience. I think the purpose of our time together, the purpose of my day, and the purpose of my life is to try to help, to try to be of benefit, to try to not work for my own happiness alone, but to try to secure the welfare of all sentient beings. When we establish that as our purpose, then we'll just start to settle the mind in meditation by focusing on the breath, moving our awareness from any distractions in our environment, and setting aside any tendency or habit to move into whatever will come later in the day, just allowing our mind to be concentrated in the present moment, using the breath as the anchor. Then we'll start contemplating the first of the 8 verses. So I'll read it twice. With the thought of attaining enlightenment for the welfare of all beings who are more precious than a wish fulfilling jewel, I will constantly practice holding them dear. With the thought of attaining enlightenment for the welfare of all beings who are more precious than a wish fulfilling jewel, I will constantly practice holding them dear. So we can conceptualize of enlightenment as however we think of the end result of spiritual practice, the goal of our efforts. And we think about the idea of a wish fulfilling jewel, we would think about all of the possible happinesses that we can experience. When we really think about those happinesses, we recognize that they come from our relationships with other sentient beings. All of the positive karma that ripens in this life has come from relating constructively with sentient beings in the past. And without relying on sentient beings, we'll never be able to develop our qualities. The practice of generosity and patience and ethical restraint, love and compassion. These are all done in relation to other sentient beings. So we should think that every sentient being that we meet is fulfilling all of our wishes. All of our wishes for temporary and ultimate happiness depend entirely on sentient beings. Our enlightenment depends on the mouse in our kitchen, depends on the person who spoke harshly to us. To contemplate in this way and come to a resolve to hold all sentient beings dear. Hold your mind in that intention. Once you can cause it to arise, We will contemplate verse 2. Whenever I am with others, I will practice seeing myself as the lowest of all, and from the very depth of my heart, I will respectfully hold others as supreme. Whenever I am with others, I will practice seeing myself as the lowest of all, and from the very depth of my heart, I will respectfully hold others as supreme. With this contemplation, we're trying to look at the energy of pridefulness, holding an exaggerated, inflated sense of self, trying to work with that energy and to see how it blocks us, trying to see how the energy of the narrow, constricted ego identity is a real obstacle to developing our good qualities. So here we're just trying to develop humility, not from a position of feeling worthless or a position of low self esteem, but with a brave attitude to think of ourselves as a servant for all sentient beings. There's tremendous self confidence that comes with the idea of achieving enlightenment. It's from a place of that inner strength where we take on voluntarily the practice of learning to become more humble. Try to make a few examples of how you think that pride and exaggerated self interest is harmful, how you've seen it to be harmful. And when you see it as something to be overcome, and create a strong determination to hold yourself in a position of humility with respect to all sentient beings. And we can visualize the Buddha on the crown of our head, made of light, about the size of our hand. And visualize that light rays and nectars, which are the energy of the realization of these contemplations, pour forth from his heart down into the crown of our head, completely filling our body and mind with the realization of these contemplations, blessings, the inspiration to be able to actualize and realize these teachings, completely eliminating and displacing ignorance and self centeredness. When you're ready, we'll come back together and we'll dedicate. So we cultivate mind, a generous, open hearted mind, thinking again of our own sufferings and the sufferings of all beings, recollecting our motivation, our purpose, and thinking whatever positive action I've done, may that serve as a cause to put an end to all suffering for all sentient beings. May it serve as a cause for my enlightenment so that I may guide sentient beings. May it serve as a cause for the long life of our spiritual guides. Thank you.